The 25th Hour Radio Show. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the 25th Hour Radio Show. On the phone, I have retired Navy nuclear submarine captain David Marquet. David, thank you for joining me today on the show.
Thanks, Rob, and welcome all your listeners.
David, let's start the interview off like this. What was it about the military that made you want to enlist and make that your career choice?
You know, I grew up in America in the 1980s, 70s, the 70s. I was bummed out. The Iranians had taken American hostages. And, you know, inflation was rampant. Price of gas went up by a factor of 4 one day. And we seemed to be in this sort of tussle with the Soviets, and we were losing. We weren't, you know, Canada and East Germany were winning more gold medals than the United States was. It just seemed like we were in a bad spot. And I really felt like the document of the Constitution kind of showed a better way for humans to organize themselves. The idea that we can be safe in our homes, that we can choose our religions without fear. And I said, well, I'm going to do something about it. And so that led me to going to the Naval Academy and being the nuclear submarine captain. That was my, quote, contribution. I joke with people. I say, hey, you know, I became a nuclear submarine captain, and the Soviets folded up shop. You know, I'm not saying the two are connected, but it's possible.
Now, was commanding a submarine a goal of yours from the very beginning, or did it just kind of work out that way for you?
You know, it kind of became, once I made the choice to go down the submarine path, that's really, like, that became my focus. That became my goal.
So let my listeners know the story behind how you came to command the USS Santa Fe. It wasn't like you had a lot of time to prepare for it, right? I mean, at least that particular vessel.
Right. So I came up through the ranks. Now, my leadership book, what we were taught about leadership was fundamentally leadership is about telling people what to do and getting them to do it. Leadership is very much what I now would call that achievement, accomplishment, getting stuff done. Leadership, there was not a lot about, hey, getting your people to think. And, hey, what do you think? And, you know, sort of what we might call now empowerment. So, but anyway, so I was really good at getting people to do what I wanted them to and doing what I was told. So I got promoted, and I was assigned to be the captain of one ship. And at the very last minute, they shifted me over to the Santa Fe because the captain over there, who was supposed to be there another year, resigned early. The Santa Fe was not doing well, and they said, "Hey, you got to go over there." Now the Santa Fe it kind of had the worst morale. It had re-enlisted only 3 guys in the previous 12 months. It was getting poor scores on their inspections. But the big thing for me was it was a different kind of submarine. It was one of the newest submarines in the fleet. So after 12 months of school for the submarine A, I went to submarine B. And to me, this was one of the most unsettling, scary things in my life because I'd always come from a place of deep intimate technical knowledge about things. That's why I could give all these orders. I could tell everyone what to do because I knew the answer. I knew how every piece of gear worked. But I was thrown out of that the day I stepped aboard the Santa Fe.
And real quick, just to give my listeners an idea of what we're talking about here, how big of a submarine was the Santa Fe, and how big was the crew?
These ships are 360 feet long, so they're bigger than a football field. Crew's 135. I had all men. We now have women also on submarines. And they are very impressive, very, very impressive warships. They can stay submerged. The machine can stay submerged indefinitely. It makes its own oxygen, makes its own water. The reactor lasts the whole life of the ship, 33 years. And the only reason why we come up to the surface every 90 days, we've got to get food for the people on board. But they're very, very, very impressive warships. And they're manned by people who felt like me, like the Constitution is an important document. It creates a better path for how to organize human life on the planet. And we want to support that.
So basically, you had to learn the ins and outs of this submarine from the crew that was under your command.
But yeah, exactly, Rob. So I get on board. I give an order that actually can't be done. My crew tries to follow it anyway. And in my mind, I got two mindsets. Mindset number one is, my old mindset was, well, crap, I just need to give better orders, right? I need to make sure my orders are right. I need to learn everything about the ship. And learning about the ship was really important. But there was no way to learn a whole submarine. It's a 12-month training preparation before you go take command. And so my other mindset was, you know what? I just got to stop giving orders. I just got to see what my crew who's been living on the ship, I just got to get them to tell me what they think. And not only what they think, but what they would do, what they intend to do. And that's why we call this intent-based leadership. And so initially I'm out there saying, oh, you guys be more empowered. You guys take more initiative. Like with all you guys, right? Finally, a kid basically points the mirror back on me and says, Captain, unless you shut up, unless you stop telling us what to do, there's no chance for us to do any of that. and initially I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? I was like, what? Like, you're talking about, but when I thought about it, I said, that is exactly right. And so I said, here's the deal. I'm going to stop telling you guys what to do. And that's what created the space for my team to start stepping forward. And too many times we say, oh, like when you show initiative, and then I'm going to step back. But that's the wrong sequence. It always has to be, the leader has to trust first. The leader has to step back first. This is one of the big things that I learned. And basically what I learned was everything about leadership that I've been taught was upset, was 180 degrees wrong. It was 180 degrees out. It was leadership that was designed for manipulating people and getting them to do what they're told. And it works if all you care about is task achievement, and especially if they're physical tasks. But when you flip it, you say, look, I really want to focus on ownership, and I want to get people thinking. It's basically all that sort of command and control stuff. It's counterproductive. So you have to figure out how to give control, not take control.
Now, because of the circumstances you were in, like you said, it forced you to think outside the box, because you turned that submarine from what your website describes as from worst to first. What do you mean by worst to first?
So we, on the submarine, there are a lot of things that you can measure in terms of performance, in terms of inspection scores. And we were getting the lowest, before I got there, the submarine's getting the lowest scores out there in the fleet. And then a year later, the same crew, we got the highest scores the Navy actually had records, historical records for how well we operated the ship. In terms of morale, we re-enlisted 3 guys, and then the next year we re-enlisted 35 guys. In other words, every sailor, 35 out of 35 guys had the opportunity to sign up, and the Navy did. Again, another record. But the thing that was really amazing, and the reason I wrote the book, was because of what happened over the next 10 years.
And that's the effects of how things lasted, like you said, after you left, as far as awards and promotions, right?
Right. So, and this is where I think we really measure leaders. We measure their impact starting the day they leave the organization, right? How well have they set up the organization? Have they embedded whatever goodness, whatever greatness, whatever excellence that they have in the people? Have they transferred it to the people? And then have they built it into the organizational design? The people, I call it the people and the practices of the organization. Have they decoupled it from themselves? That's leadership. People walk away and then the organization tanks, or the people are dependent on the leader, have built a culture of dependency and narcissism. That's not leadership. So what we want to do is make build to a point where the people are independent. They can achieve things on their own. And so on my experience was when I left the ship continued to do well. But the other thing was the people who went on to other places and left my submarine got promoted, and we ended up creating 10 submarine commanders from my group of officers, which is a really highly disproportionate number, way above average. Right now today there's 4 submarine commanders that served with me on the Santa Fe. And that means there's 3 submarines that had 0 people, then you'll have 0 people in command, right? Because typically it's sort of like a 1-to-1, progression. But so this was the real message and the real story I wanted to tell, which is You can turn around an organization by barking a bunch of orders, and you can have a short-term impact. But if you really want to have a long-term positive impact on the lives of the people around you and see them achieve more, which, oh, by the way, will be better for you psychologically and, financially and whatever, then you got to give them control. And you got to let them practice thinking and making decisions, even when it's scary.
Now, you decided to write the book, right? Turn the Ship Around, a true story of turning followers into leaders, which has since been named one of the top 12 business books of all time by USA Today. Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
In your words, what makes your book stand out above other business leadership models out there?
Number one, it's a true story. This is not like something we made up. This is not a bunch of academic studies. This is like something that really happened to a real group of people that really short time, they had, risks of failure are huge when you're operating a nuclear reactor underneath the sea. And so it's real. Everything is real. Number two, and it's a story, so it's kind of fun. It's like a fast moving story. Number two, I'm very specific about what we did. And almost to the point of, instead of saying this, we said that. Well, not almost, to the point of describing the exact words the words we did, the way we changed the forms, the way we changed the way we talk to each other, the way we organize ourselves differently. I mean, there's very specific, we call mechanisms for what we did. For example, here's a very simple one. When I got on board the ship, there was a lot of blame. Things weren't going well, and there was a lot of what I call they. Right? Mm-hmm. Well, they did this, and they didn't do that, and they didn't pressurize the pump, and they didn't, order the right part, whatever it was. And I never gave a lecture about being a team. What I said was, okay, on board this ship, we will use the word we to refer to anybody else on the submarine. Inside the skin of the ship is all we. The officers were they, the enlisted guy, engineering department was they, the supply and vice versa. There was all this they. And so what happens is the guy comes up to you and says, hey, we ordered the wrong part. I mean, it just changes everything.
Yeah.
And so what happens is it's just this idea that the phrase we use is act your way to new thinking, right? Mm-hmm. So you practice the behavior, and then your brain rewires around the behavior, not give a bunch of lectures, give a bunch of speeches, put up a bunch of posters, send a bunch of email. It says zero impact, just aggravates people. Just find a little way to start practicing it. And then what happens is you change your brain, and then it feels like a team. And then all these other team behaviors then follow. Like people start to help each other. People ask, how you doing? People ask, how can I help? People ask, what do you think? People are respectful. People say, hey, let me help you get your job done. All these things follow from the very simple thing of using we, not they.
Yeah. And because of the success of the Santa Fe and your book, Turn the Ship Around, you're fortunate enough to go out and share your experience and your knowledge in person through business workshops. What is the advantage a business can expect to receive by employing your services?
In the long run, what they're going to see is more of their people bringing more of their brains to work. This is the whole thing is we got to get people using their brains and then sharing what's going on inside their brains. It's very, very powerful. And we can't order people to bring their brains to work, but when we create the right environment, they come with the passion and the energy to work. So what we're seeing is people say anecdotally, hey, I love work, but we're also seeing metrics, for example, in a hotel chain, we push the authority for making decisions down to the people with the information. So the front desk manager or the food and beverage supervisors can make decisions that will be the best for the guest, balancing the needs of the company. And the CEO of this global hotel chain is saying he can directly correlate his hotels are doing this more, the net promoter scores and the feedback from the customers who stay at those hotels is going up. And we have another company which has implemented this. This is a quick service restaurant, and they're reporting increased double-digit profitability year over year, and the retention went from They have a lot of turnover, like this quick service restaurants typically have a lot of turnover to almost zero. And people love it. And so what they're seeing is a lot of savings in terms of recruiting people. So every business is different, but what happens is the people working there feel valued, and therefore they contribute, and it's a win-win.
You know, David, I can't cover all the details surrounding what you've accomplished and what you offer, but you can, right? So where can people go as far as website, social media to kind of fill in the blanks there and get that information that they might be wanting?
Well, thanks. So we're active on Twitter. It's L David Marquet, at L David Marquet. That L stands for Lewis. I got a Facebook page, and we have a website, which is davidmarquet.com. You can contact us. There's a contact form. You can ask for help for your own organization. But one of the things we really encourage people to do is we have these 30-second nudges that come out every Wednesday. And just go to the homepage, David Marquet, marquet.com, and you go to the homepage. It says sign up for our nudges, and there's very short videos of me talking about one of these little tiny things that we talked about 3 or 4 today. But just this one little thing, like how listen better, or how to train your brain, giving up control, how you can. And we now have 10,000 leaders get these every Wednesday. And they're just step by step, becoming the leaders that they want to be, because it's about practice. Like, you don't need more theory, you just need more practice.
And real quick, David, is there anything you might want to add that I might, not have covered before we start to wrap things up here?
No, just, hey, Rob's listeners out there, leadership is hard. It's not physically hard, but it'll feel hard. The idea that we have to give control will run against your grain. It's not how your DNA is wired. And that's what's hard about it, but it's very important because you have the ability to really make the lives of the people around you better. And so, at the end of the day, you got to decide what's important in my life. What's my legacy going to be? So, it's up to you.
David, it's been an honor and a pleasure speaking with you today, sir. Thank you for your service to our country, and I wish you nothing but the best moving forward in life.
Cheers, and same to you, Rob, and all your listeners.